welcome to a brand new episode of the Hot Mic here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am the Outlaw, John Roca, joined as always by the Snyder himself, dropping scoops and dropping bombs all over the place. Jeff Snyder, how are you?
Johnny boy! I'm good, baby. Good to see you, Johnny.
You too, my friend. You too. Excited to be diving into a lot of stuff that we got going on in the world of entertainment, brother. Certainly going to hit some of your scoops, some of your stories from this week. We're also going to talk about some of the bigger stories as well that went through the week here with Fantastic Four and Natasha Lyonne, some Sigourney Weaver stuff, which of course you absolutely broke, and then other stuff going on here. Sweeney, Megalopolis reactions, trailers, all kinds of stuff going on here in the world of entertainment. We're going to break it all down for you, and thank you all so much for joining us here on the channel. Don't forget, Streamlabs Superchats are open. Send in your love and support as we go along having these conversations. You know, we're here to entertain you and have some fun with you and break it down in a, how can I say this, in a very open and honest way, not beholden to anybody or anything as we give our opinions on all the big stories of the week. So, Jeff, are you ready to go? Do you want to talk about do you have something that's bothering you right now? Anything up your craw, or shall we jump into the first story, my man?
Let's fucking jump the fuck in, baby.
Right, let's do it. This is the first one we have to, and that's Natasha Lyonne. That's right. This is from Justin Kroll, the exclusive he dropped on Deadline, that Emmy nominee Natasha Lyonne is set to join Fantastic Four. Marvel Studios had no comment as of the time they posted that article. Plot details, as you all know, are being kept under wraps, but Natasha Lyonne, a lot of people really enjoying her lately as she's come back here through Dollhouse, and then, of course, through Poker Face. She's working on a number of projects, her production company doing a number of things as well. And there's speculation about who she might be playing. One of the big speculation is she might be playing Herbie, which would be an interesting choice. The other possibility is Alicia Masters, who has some connection there with certain people in the Fantastic Four. No spoilers, but pretty surprising here, Jeff, to have Natasha Lyonne coming aboard, yet another independent film actress who has done some mainstream stuff, but very much has that indie vibe to her, coming in to be part of Matt Shakman's cast. Malkovich, Julia Garner. This is interesting casting for this particular film. How do you feel about this? And what do you speculate she might be playing, man?
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't like Natasha Lyonne? Yeah, I've always been a fan ever since the Slums of Beverly Hills days and American Pie and whatnot. I just like her energy and the vibe that she brings to stuff. I wagered a guess last night in the newsletter. I don't have any inside info.
Right.
But everything sort of made sense with my theory. Did you happen to read it, Johnny?
Yes, you were talking about Alicia Masters in your theory, weren't you?
Yeah, I feel like Natasha Lyonne would play off well with Evan Moss-Bachrach.
Yes.
I think that this movie needs, maybe that element or a little bit of something like that. And like with Malkovich's role also being kept under wraps.
Yeah.
It just makes sense that he could be playing her stepfather, the puppet master. And I like the idea of Malkovich creating figures who can look like anybody, really.
Yeah.
I think that sort of plays well with maybe things that I've heard.
Yeah, if you go back and watch Hot Mic from last week, I speculated that Malkovich could be playing Puppet Master because of the look of him, the baldness and the nose and everything. Like, he's got that particular look to him that could work for Puppet Master. Very close to Vulture look, even though they went with Keaton, who doesn't necessarily look like the Vulture in the Marvel comics. But I speculate it might be it. This seems to be pushing towards that idea as well. And the fact that you speculate Alicia Masters, that makes so much sense, considering as you said, the relationship, shall we say, that Alicia Masters has with the Fantastic Four. And it's not just the Fantastic Four. If you go back here, I made it in my notes here. If you go back, because she was introduced very early in number 8 of Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four number 8 is when we meet Alicia Masters. And as you said, stepdaughter of the puppet master who creates, she's a sculptor or whatever, but he does that as well. She's able to create, though, incredibly lifelike representations, but she has connections to The Thing, to Silver Surfer, to the Human Torch, to Galactus, to Skrulls, to the Avengers. And if you go back to 1966, there was a run there during the Silver Age of the Fantastic Four called The Coming of Galactus. So this may be her casting could be moving us closer to hinting that may be the storyline that they're using.
And that's just my theory, because it's like, well, if there's Mole Man at the beginning, and then there's Puppet Master and Galactus, and then the Doom in a credit sequence, like that's a lot of villains. So like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Natasha Lyonne's voicing Herbie. Maybe Malkovich is voicing Herbie. I don't know. But I think if the Master's theory makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like it because, like you said, it could give something for Evan Moss Backrack to do. There's also a history of her with the Human Torch. So will they explore that? And how much of a role is she going to play in this? And wasn't she blind in Blade Trinity? Is this her second foray into being blind in a superhero movie?
Yes.
Interesting decision. Do you think this is it? Aside from maybe the smaller characters, do you think this is it? Or do you think there's more coming?
I mean,
big action.
I'm more coming. I mean, weren't there black people in '60s London? Like, can we get some? It's a very white cast. Like, and I don't mean like the guy who's always calling attention to that, but like, very white cast. So yeah, I think maybe some more diversity.
Yeah, that's right. You're still missing Doom. Maybe that's where they go with diversity.
I mean, the only way you get a black Doom is if you know who comes out. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Are you saying Michael B. Jordan? Who are you saying?
Michael B. Jordan. No.
Who are you saying?
Fucking Denzel, my friend.
Denzel is too old to play Dr. Doom. Stop it. Stop it.
I'm just saying.
70.
I don't know. Then Dr. Doom ain't gonna be black. I don't think he's gonna be black anyways, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's the only way you get a black Dr. Doom is if
maybe they make it up to Idris and have Idris play Dr. Doom. That could be a lot of fun. We'll see, but we'll see as it goes along and more casting decisions. But clearly, this is another strong, solid cast member to add to this overall production. So it makes me feel more excited about it and where we're going. And certainly trying to be comic books accurate, I guess, is their approach. Maybe that's why it's a mostly white or almost all white cast, except for Pedro, of course. But we will see as it goes along what they end up doing there in terms of diversity.
Well, it's an interesting cast. It's like it's not like a huge star power cast, but it's interesting.
Yeah, that's what I was saying the last week. I've been saying like it feels like it's an indie movie approach to a big studio feature film, and I kind of like that because if you're going to cut costs, as you said, Jeff Iger's very keen on doing this. This is the way you go about it. You bring in these solid actors to play these roles, and you have Marvel and Fantastic Four be the thing that's selling the movie, not the actors necessarily. So it's an interesting approach, and we'll see if it pays off for them overall. Yeah. Well, let's move on to this one, man. Sigourney Weaver. This is one that you broke. Do you want to take the reins on this one and talk about it?
No, you're the Star Wars guy. You set it up, big.
All right. Well, Jeff Snyder from the Insider broke this story that Sigourney Weaver was in talks. Now, not cast, not locked down a deal, in talks. I want to make it really clear to people, and maybe Jeff has an update on this, but in talks with Lucasfilm and Disney to be in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie in an unspecified role. Jeff, I love this idea. Sigourney has really come on in a second or third golden age of Sigourney Weaver as an actress, maybe even a fourth golden age, for God's sakes. And she's been in so many projects recently, and it's been great to see her be a part of it. You know, she was in Star Trek essentially by being in Galaxy Quest. She was in Avatar. She's been in so many of the, obviously Alien, Ghostbusters, so many great franchises. Now her coming in to possibly be a part of Star Wars could be really interesting. What do you think of this one? Are you excited for this one? Does this make the film feel like it's a little more going to happen and happen before the Rey movie?
Yeah, I mean, when I heard about this, I was excited, and not because I'm some Star Wars guy or Mandalorian guy, but because who doesn't love Sigourney Weaver?
Yeah.
I mean, when I put that story out, I don't think I saw like a single negative tweet, really. And I just love the idea of, because the way that I framed it in the first tweet was, this is the fucking biggest badass in space there ever was, in my opinion.
Sure.
She doesn't have superpowers. She doesn't have a lightsaber. She fought aliens and lived. a bunch of times.
Twice, 3 times, 4 times. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, I just I thought it was really cool that like the star of one of the biggest sci-fi space franchises, Alien, who's also in Galaxy Quest and like the voice of the ship in Wall-E, and just like has a big, sci-fi fan base, was going to be doing this. I don't know what the role is. I have no idea where she could fit into things.
Yeah,
but, she's just a damn good actress, and I love that. It's not some like hot flavor of the month. Like we got to get Timothy Chalamet or Tom Holland in this movie, or else we're not going to greenlight it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is I don't know her actual age, but I don't know, 70-year-old woman roughly. Like,
sure.
Good, way to go. And someone called me out for my photo choice, which I understood because I do understand. Like, it's true that I think that a lot of publications, when they run stories, they tend to go with younger photos of stars.
Well, yeah.
But I only chose the Alien photo because of the way that I wanted to frame that story.
Yeah.
I really did look at a lot of photos of Sigourney at like 70 years old, and I was like, it didn't feel right.
This is the thing, picking what photo you. I mean, they know her
from.
I
put a lot of thought in my photo choices. I don't know if other people do put as much thought in as I do.
That's weird. Yeah, I mean, because the whole point is just you want to get to the story. Who cares about the photo? It's not like you took her in some.
Who cares about the photo? Let me tell you something about trade journalism, John. Okay, they don't give a fuck what you write. They care about the photo that you use.
Fair enough.
That's not me. I'm just talking about like the Variety deadline. Like the majority of calls I got when I was a reporter at those places, it was always good story, but can we change the photo?
Well, I used an older photo of Sigourney in the picture I put on the thumbnail, so I didn't think, but I didn't think twice about it. It just didn't occur to me to try to do young or old. It just seemed natural. So I don't fault your photo choice. It's a smart choice because it's what people know her from originally and still do. So I don't see the problem. But look, I love her being a part of this. This to me shows yet again that just like the Natasha Lyonne situation, they've got a name here. They know what they can trade on. It's a very strong name. Yes, she's not leading films anymore and making millions and millions of dollars in the way that she's in her heyday. But when she comes onto a project, she brings a certain kind of weight, dare I say, gravitas. And so it adds a seriousness to the film. Now, it doesn't mean she's going to play a serious role. I just mean it gives it a little more strength. So the idea is, well, what's she going to play? Well, there's a number of things, and that's why you cast someone like Sigourney. She could play a bounty hunter who's going up against a legendary female bounty hunter who's maybe going after Grogu or going after something that's rivaling the Mandalorian. She could be playing a member of the council. You're not going to have Leia. You might have Mon Mothma. She could be a senator in the whole Galactic Senate in that situation. She can convey that, but she could also be playing Amy Sedaris' mom. That's a possibility that she could be with the curly hair and stuff and the humor that she can do. She could be playing the original. Was it Pelimoto is the character's name? She's the one that's got the original garage. She's the one that's going to do this thing. So you have her working with Amy Sedaris, which I think would be really funny to add that element. So you can go to a number of directions with Sigourney. That's why you cast someone like her. So yeah, really curious to see what she's going to bring to it. But as I said, does this make it feel like this is actually going to happen? This is going to go before the cameras and it's going to come out before the Ray movie. Do you sense if they do lock
this happening? This is May 2026. This is happening.
Okay. All right. Just hearing all kinds of noises, man, sometimes. So just want to make sure. All right. Any other Star Wars news?
I just don't know if what I said like months ago about Ray being before Mangold, that's up in the air. Those could switch. Mangold could end up being before Charmin's movie.
Wow. Yeah. Or who's the other person writing the Ray script? Another Sean Levy's movie, possibly. Yeah. If doesn't Sean Levy have a Ray movie or no? Am I wrong on that?
He was working on a movie that incorporated an element of Ray, but I don't know what's up with that one.
Yeah.
I don't think that is like an imminent one necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sean Levy wound up doing some more Marvel stuff down the line.
Yeah, I was gonna say if Deadpool Wolverine comes out and it's really well received, then why not? Why not open the door and see what he can do?
I wonder if they'd give him X-Men. I think it's going to depend on how Deadpool and Wolverine does.
Yeah. I like this. I hope she plays a Wookiee. Yeah, I could see Sigourney as a Wookiee. She'd be awesome as a Wookiee. All right, let's move on to this other one, Jeff. This one's really curious. Speaking of sci-fi and ladies in sci-fi, let's talk about this. Sydney Sweeney, rumors here going around that she is in talks and working on a Barbarella remake with Edgar Wright. Jane Goldman and Honey Ross are in negotiations with Sony Studios to pen this new Barbarella remake. The film is still in development, according to all the sources here, given Sweeney's busy schedule, and Wright is working on the Running Man, another reboot, the Running Man reboot that he's doing here. But it's an interesting pairing, Edgar Wright and Sydney Sweeney. Kind of wouldn't have necessarily put them together in something, but I'm curious to see what the end result's going to be. But I will say this, I mean, the Jane Fonda connection, who was the original star of Barbarella under Roger Vadim's direction, I think is an interesting connection to make with both of these ladies. And I got to call out your boy, Justin Kroll. This is about the most boring synopsis of Barbarella that you could come up with, just saying, directed by Roger Vadim, follows an astronaut from the 41st century who sets out to find and stop the evil scientist, Duran Duran, whose positronic ray threatens to bring evil back to the galaxy. Where's the sex that was all over that movie? Where is Jane Fonda in this article? What happened here? But anyway, your thoughts on Sydney Sweeney, Edgar Wright coming together for a Barbarella remake?
Again, Edgar Wright to me just seems like better than this. I you know, like I know that he needs a hit. He needs a big hit, and an idea of like a half-closed Sydney Sweeney is probably a hit. You know, but yeah, I don't know why he's kind of like stooping to this.
It's 2 reboots in a row if he agrees to this. The Running Man one and this one. Yeah.
Saying, I feel like if Running Man like is a hit, go back to like doing your own thing and you know, doing something original.
Yeah.
But I really, you know, I recognize he's in desperate need of a hit, Edgar.
Well, maybe
that movie Last Night in Soho was horrible.
I can't agree with you. I liked it, but okay.
Did you really?
I did. I totally did. Yeah. I liked her, and I liked Anya, and I liked
it was horrible.
Oh, I forget what her name is now all of a sudden. But yeah, I liked them in the movie. I thought it was, I mean, I didn't think it was 100% great, but I did like it. What it was trying to say.
It tanked, and
it did tank. You're right.
He's got to, you know, go back to the prove it. He's got to do a prove it movie, and that's what Running Man is. So I don't understand the 2 in a row. But as far as like Barbarella goes, you know, if she puts, I'm sure you can make an interesting feminist statement out of it, like a modern day feminism thing. Again, the idea of her in some of those costumes probably has like a, you know, Sony's marketing team drooling. But,
yeah, 100%. Right. Well, and look, I want to bring this up because it's kind of a weird, like Sydney Sweeney's in this weird place, right? $100 million, Anyone But You, looks like a hit, massive hit, whatever. All of that's great, right? Madam Web crashed and burned, and it wasn't because of her, obviously, but she was like not good in that movie. Certainly, people love her in Euphoria. What was the reality? The Max Mill film was good. She was damn good in that. And so now you take on this, and this is a thing. Like, is she a woman who is very much embracing her sexuality and knows that dudes like go crazy with the physical nature? And so taking on a film like Barbarella, which was, you know, for Jane Fonda, it's such an unusual film for her to have taken at that point in her career, maybe trying to expand what she can do and how people see her. The character of Barbarella, it's set in the future. Humans don't have sex anymore. They take a pill in order to achieve orgasm. It's only when she goes on this adventure sent by the president that she starts to have sex with people throughout the universe. And even the final thing she has to overcome is this sex machine that she out-sexes and breaks it. And so I find this curious that this is the step that Sydney is taking. It could be really empowering and really feminist, but it could also be hot as hell. And you're marketing and smartly marketing and trading in on the fact that numerous millions of dudes find you attractive and will go and see this movie.
Yeah, I mean, she's no dummy. I mean, you saw when Anyone But You came out, like she played up the tabloid romance rumors with
Glenn Powell. Yeah.
Savvy businesswoman, like a lot of these actresses, like who know what they've got and what audiences want. And to me, it's a curious thing because there's not a lot of sex in movies anyways. Like that seems to be why people go to the movies. And so if you're going to tone all that down, then what's the point of redoing this necessarily? I wonder what it is about it that appeals to her.
Yeah. Well, I think you got to go back to this thing, right? What have been the accusations on Sydney, right? That she's possibly MAGA, that she comes from a conservative household, these kinds of things. And
Okay.
I know you don't care about it, but the real world does. And this type of stuff is like, it's a mental, I'm just saying, what's the thing they're against is this idea of like, why are you trying to, break the tradition? Why are you trying to? And so she, in her way, by doing a film like this, bringing back the idea that women can be, sexually attractive, can be women who can be these kinds of things, like that pushes that narrative, that point of view, because everyone's trying to remove sex from movies. Maybe she's much more from a place of like, look, there's nothing wrong with women being attractive, being ogled. There's nothing wrong with the male gaze. I like it. I understand it. I can use it for my empowerment. And so that's what I'm saying. She wants to break away from that kind of leftist, elitist point of view about sex and wants to embrace something more kind of foundational, ground-based.
Sex overcomes all that shit. So, like, I understand, like, I see the points, the dots that you're connecting and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, I don't think anyone's like, oh, that Sydney Sweeney, she's so hot, but she voted for Trump, so I'm not going to go see her movie.
No, I'm not saying that. No,
find her attractive, and I don't find her attractive anymore. Like, I just think people see right past that. So they don't give a shit who she votes for. I
agree with that.
She is a Trumper or a MAGA person.
Right.
I think all that stuff gets so like taken out of context. And again, if you have one thought that goes against like here are the liberal values, and if you have step out of line here, then that means you're all the way over here on Trump's side.
Right.
I don't think that's it.
It goes both ways. Yes, I agree. If you say one thing trying to fight for it, then you're all the way over here.
Who cares what her fucking family is? Like, I don't think you could work in Hollywood and be like a conservative. I don't think you can work in Hollywood like she is and be like an outspoken conservative. So
I don't know anymore. I mean, after that Harrison Bucker speech this week, I don't know. You can clearly work in the NFL. Maybe I'll go. But like this whole thing with her,
he works in Kansas City. I'm talking about Los Angeles.
Yeah, but there are conservatives who work consistently in Los Angeles. Bruce Willis, Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Tim Allen, Patricia Heaton. There's a number of people who work. Eastwood, for God's sakes. So there's a lot of people who are conservative.
All these people are grandfathered in. Dude. You're talking about grandfathers. I'm talking about young, actual, relevant talent.
I don't know, but a number of executives are, and you know this. A number of producers are, and you know this. So I don't know, but I wasn't trying to connect in a negative way. I was trying to say that point of view is about going back to the way we were before, which before all this stuff, and maybe Sydney in her own way.
Okay, yes, it used to be okay before the took over.
Which I think is nothing wrong with it. I think a woman should use her talents, whatever she wants to use her talents to succeed in this world. Whatever you're comfortable with doing, I think you should be allowed to do. I have no problem with that. I think it's great, to be honest with you. John Voight and Vince Vaughn. Yeah, no. Again, as Jeff said, those are grandfathered in. For God's sakes, those don't count. Anyway, all right, where are we at right now? All right, let's talk about. You want to talk about Wicked and Dune? Or you want to talk about Megalopolis, man? What are your thoughts here?
I mean, Megalopolis seems pretty topical at the moment.
Let's do it.
The reviews are all over the place. Some are very respectful and saying like, he's done something unique, and I've never seen anything like it before. A lot of people are falling in the middle, and then there's like a vocal minority that's just like, this is a huge piece of shit, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a little more than a minority, brother. There's quite a few who are tearing this one apart. So it feels like pretty split down the middle.
I think we don't know what they just saw. I mean, again, it just ended like an hour or two ago. Like, digest it a little. If this is such a radical departure from what we've come to know as the motion picture.
Yeah. Look, Hollywood Reporter's David Rooney said it's windy and overstuffed, frequently baffling and way too talky. Let's see who else. New York Magazine's Bill Jabiri comes to you. Megalopolis comes to us as the perhaps final testament of an artist now in his 80s, but sometimes it feels like the fevered thoughts of a precocious child, driven and dazzled and maybe a little bit lost. The Guardian's Peter Bradshaw gave the film 2 stars. It's simultaneously hyperactive and lifeless, lumbered with some terrible acting. Jason Gorber says you can feel that he's Jesus. He said it feels like it was rewritten by 1,000 monkeys, some of them even getting their spelling correct. Wow. So, but there have been some positive ones, as you said. They're just not they're not listed here in this Hollywood Reporter piece. So, judging from the trailer though, Jeff, this is the most visually incredible film he's done since maybe the 1970s, to be honest with you, judging from the trailer and what I saw. I haven't seen the movie, obviously, but judging from the trailer. So I'm willing to walk into this theater and give this a shot and see what the hell what it is, you know?
I mean, I've heard that the film looks like a very cheap $120 million movie.
What? Okay. Well, maybe they choose the best pieces in the trailer then.
I mean, again, I think it has a certain sumptuous visual vibe to it, but I can also see where it looks kind of just like artificial and like blatantly cheap and fake. And I think that goes for the acting too. I bet you the acting is like fascinating in like a car crash kind of way.
Yeah.
Everyone seems like, I saw one review that, it just seems like all the actors are on different pages and no one knows exactly what pitch to modulate their performance towards. I've heard all kinds of stuff about this movie even before it screened to Cannes. I think it's going to be a very tough sell. I don't know who's, he wants, I mean, he's been talking about a Q4 release, but then IMAX, he's been talking about September, which is Q3. I'm told he wants $100 million marketing commitment, 40 million domestic, 60 million international, which it's just like, you're not gonna never gonna get that. And people would be foolish to do it. I don't know who would do it other than like maybe Apple. But I feel like with that meeting that was recently reported on, with Zach and Jamie getting like called up to see Eddie Q and everything, where they're like going over the spending, I just don't see how you justify that for the merriment of film Twitter, essentially. I mean, that's what we're talking about. No one outside of film Twitter is going to give a fuck about this movie.
Yeah, that's a lot of people this week were commenting on my other videos, like, why won't you do a Megalopolis reaction to the trailer? And I was like, because I don't think people give a shit. And the truth is, and I know it got 1.3 million views, and it's nice on Coppola's YouTube channel, but like, I don't think people give a shit. And all these people like, how could you not give money to Coppola? How could you not distribute? He hasn't had a hit film in decades. Fucking decades, people. You don't get to live on your laurels from 4 decades ago, and somehow the studio these executives who are in their 30s are going to give you millions upon millions of dollars, throwing good money after bad to try to put this in the theaters. It's nonsense. Scorsese and Spielberg are completely different animals because they're consistently working. Yes, not always getting it right, but most of the time, yes. And so they're consistently shown they're worth the money a studio would sink into them. Coppola is not. And I mean, his films have been horrific since like 1984, 86 or whatever his last really damn good film was, and I'll give him Tucker. I like Tucker, but like everything else has not been good. So this idea that he should get $100 million or $200 million, I saw someone go, how can Sony give Madam Web 100? I was like, this is completely different things. You can't even compare them.
Well, yeah, one is about art, and it's just like a fever dream, like that, this guy's been trying to get out of his head and onto the screen for 20, 30 years. And the other one is just about corporate stewardship of a piece of IP. Yeah.
What is this? So, all right. So what do you anticipate as the end result for this, man?
For the end result for Megalopolis? I mean,
does it go streaming is what I'm asking you. Does it go to Apple? Does it go to Max, Netflix, or something like that?
I don't even know. I can't even wager a guess. I don't think you four-wall it, because I don't think you sink any more of your own money into this movie if it's not going to do gangbusters business. Like if you have a movie that people are going to show up for, like a Terrifier 3, that makes sense. You can put it out yourself. You don't need a big backer, but I wouldn't do that if I was him.
Yeah, I think I'm in your camp on this one. One quick piece of business that just popped up here on THR.
Is it? Have you seen it with your own eyes?
Yeah, on THR. No, not the stuff in the chat. For God's sakes, no. I always double check, man. All right. Marvel's Silk Spider Society is dead at Amazon. This is being reported by THR. Sources say Sony Pictures TV, the studio behind the series, plans to shop the Angela Kang-led project to other buyers, but it is dead at Amazon. What do you think about this, Jeff? This is the Walking Dead showrunner, Angela Kang. This is another connective tissue to the Spider Universe or Spider-Verse without Spider-Man in it. Are you surprised by this? Does this indicate that maybe Sony is kind of realizing they need to revamp their approach to this Spider-Verse, or is this just kind of a situation where it wasn't working and they moved on from it? What do you think is going on here?
Yeah, this did not surprise me at all. What surprised me was when the Noir series that was announced,
Spider-Man Noir, Nicolas Cage. Yeah.
I mean, I can't even believe that they're making that show, but that has Nicolas Cage, right?
Yeah, right. You can sell that. Yeah.
They were like, yeah, we're doing Silk and Spider-Man Noir, and I was like, well, I understand if you're getting Cage why you might do Noir.
Yeah.
Even though putting it on MGM Plus makes not a lick of fucking sense, because I don't know anyone who has that.
Yeah. Right.
Like why wouldn't you just put it on Prime first? But when they were putting Silk next to it, I was like, that's happening. I was like, is that for real? Like they're still moving forward with that? And yeah, sure enough, they're not. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah. I agree with you. The Noir thing, I think as an animated series would excite me. Nick Cage in the 1930s and the age he's at now playing Spider-Man Noir, I don't know if that excites me as much, dude. That's where you worry if fandom has manipulated people's minds into thinking this would actually be a success. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see for sure.
Look, Deadline says, since then, Silk, whose greenlight was script dependent, has gone through at least 3 versions. One of them involved a request for Angela Kang and her writing team to reconfigure the show so it is not hanging so heavily on the central character of Silk. Hey, can we make a Silk series? But listen, maybe don't make it about Silk.
Don't make it about the female lead. Make it about something else, please. I would appreciate it if y'all did that. So weird. Anyway, all right, let's take a quick break, man. We'll jump into some more stories and after this, and make sure you send in your Streamlabs and Super Chats, people. We'll be answering them in the back half of the show, and we'll be right back right after this.
Now.
All right, my man. Let's get into some of these trailers that dropped this week. We had the Wicked trailer. There was the official trailer that dropped. Of course, we had that Super Bowl teaser trailer a few months ago in February. This is about a 3.5-minute trailer for this film. This is the first part of 2 parts with Cynthia Erivo there as Elphaba and Ariana Grande as Galinda, Jeff Goldblum in this thing, Bowen Yang, Michelle Yeoh. Peter Dinklage's voice was in this thing. So your thoughts on this trailer for Wicked, Jeff? What did you think?
Dude, what? This is a 0 on the want to see meter. And I'm sorry if I sound like an asshole saying that. I'm sure Universal is not happy with me. But like, this is just my honest opinion. Like, I don't know how you get straight men to go see this movie. Ooh. I don't like my brothers are not going to see this movie unless, I guess my nieces beg them to go. My friends are not seeing this movie unless their kids beg them to go. Like, I just don't see what is the appeal here for a straight guy. And that's not to say that musicals are all, to hell with all musicals. That's not true. Yeah. I love certain musicals.
Sure.
But these 4 performers, I mean, just do very little for me. Cynthia, Ariana Grande, Jonathan Bailey, and then that little troll that Ariana Grande is dating or whatever. I don't even know. I'm sorry, dude. I don't know your name. You are.
I didn't know that she's dating somebody in the cast. So
what? What do you mean?
I didn't know. I don't keep tabs on her shit. Yeah,
he left his wife for her.
Oh, did he? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
He is.
Who's that? Ethan Slater? Is that who it is? Is that who it is?
Oh. Yeah. I'll keep my mouth shut there.
Yeah, I'm not an area like I like her music, but I'm not following Ariana all the time, so I didn't know all that drama and shit. But yeah, Jeff, I did a trailer reaction to this one. I was not that impressed, and I love musicals, right? And especially film musicals. I fought for In the Heights, I fought for West Side Story, loved Greatest Showman when nobody at Collider liked Greatest Showman, so I was looking forward to this. But in the Super Bowl teaser trailer, I was a little like. And then when I saw this in 3.5 minutes, you get a real good taste of what this film's going to be. And I'm not 100% excited for it. I think Ariana is completely miscast as Glinda the Good Witch. There's no chemistry between them. I'm supposed to buy Cynthia Erivo, who's 37 years old, as a student at a Magic University or whatever this is, or high school or whatever. Like, to me, this is just bad chemistry, bad connection. That being said, could be phenomenal. I wasn't the biggest fan of Crazy Rich Asians. I like John M. Chu as a director. Sometimes he's right, gets it right. Sometimes he doesn't. So I'm kind of not excited about this. But I have a couple of friends who came after me on text yesterday because they didn't like my reaction to it and who are very excited for it. But I wonder if how many people who've seen the musical are going to be colored by the nostalgia of the musical and are not going to be able to separate their opinions out and really look at it objectively as its own thing. Because for me, looking at it, it doesn't excite me. The designs, the look of it all is phenomenal, and you can tell they spent a lot of money to bring this land to life. But I don't buy the connection between these two. You know,
I mean, they're not showing that it's like a musical. They're still hiding that fact.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the year 2024 when we
you hear the songs, but you're not seeing the songs. Good point, Jeff. Yeah.
And then it's, this is not Wicked Part 1 when it is half the story.
Yeah.
So it's 2024 and we're still trying to trick people into coming to the movies.
Yeah.
I didn't think it looked good. I was the only person at CinemaCon willing to say that. And I think it's going to be a money loser for Universal at the end of the year. And now other people will say, oh my God, I know so many women who are excited about this. Like, this is the movie going event of the year for them. And that may be so. And I may have a ton of egg on my face, but like, Barbie got to be Barbie because men went to go see Barbie.
True.
Men aren't going to see this. And as such, I think you're looking more like Cats.
Well, man, what do you do with a part 2 if that thing bombs? Do you not put it out?
No. What do you mean not put it out? What are we talking about?
You put it out? You would put it out or not put it out?
You have to put it out. What do you mean? You made it.
Yeah, I guess so. Oof, that's rough. Oof, I don't know what to do with that. All right, what about the other trailer, brother? Here, the Dune Prophecy trailer. Got a little heavy dose of Emily Watson in this one, Olivia Williams in this one, Mark Strong in this one. This is a 6-episode series coming to Max. This was about a minute and a half, but this is 100,000 years before the events of Dune and how the Bene Gesserit came to be and came to power. It's like, oh, wow. Really?
Give me a break.
But you went to see Dune Part 2. You liked it.
Best movie of the year.
Okay. Why are you not excited for this part of the franchise?
This part of the franchise. I mean, this is a fucking Max series with Emily Watson. Like, where's Timmy? Where's the stars? Where? It's just
they haven't been born yet.
That was easily the worst part of these Dune movies is the Bene Gesserit garbage. Like, give me a break. I don't care. Pass. It looks like all the other sci-fi shows. Glowing lights, lots of glowing lights and doodads. Yes.
Well, I like the trailer. I'm excited. I think this is becoming the new Star Wars, not for kids necessarily, but I think it's becoming the franchise that could, if this comes out and is a success, then it could be the thing that keeps it going and becomes this whole cottage industry to stand alongside stuff like Marvel and Star Wars and DC. Could be interesting. It's kind of just finding its steps piece by piece, but it'll all depend on how much they can milk out of this whole world from Frank Herbert and Brian Herbert.
You just said it. That's the word, and that is what they're doing. Like, let's not be naive here. They are milking it.
Yeah.
Okay? You made 2 movies. You keep making movies. What is this?
Yeah.
Where we got to have a movie and a TV show, and then we'll have a TV show, and then we'll have a movie. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous.
So you don't like
good enough to be a movie? It would be a movie. They'd call it Dune the Prophecy, the movie,
right?
And it would come out in fucking theaters. Instead, it's a Max show. It's not going to HBO.
Right.
Come on.
Well, what about? Do you feel the same way about the Penguin coming out as a series in between Batman 1 and Batman 2?
Penguin's gonna be fucking awesome.
So you're okay with it as long as in the Batman universe.
I'm an enigma. Hey, I never fucking said I made sense.
I just wanted to ask you in seeing
the Penguin is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I agree with you. It looks fucking great, and I'm looking forward to it. But this looks good too. And sorry about this. 10,000 years before the events of Dune, not 100,000. I'm off by a zero.
A million, billion, 1,000.
Kill me.
What's the difference? Well, like, Tell me what is the difference between the Dune 2 I just saw a couple months ago and Dune Prophecy? What has happened in the 10,000 years?
Well, this is
where are the advances that have been made?
Well, this is the thing. That's why I don't think I think that's why you don't like it, because, as you said, this is about the Bene Gesserit. This entire series is about how they came to power through two Harkonnen sisters battling for power. How they came to power in order to be a part of what we see in the Dune movies with Charlotte Rampling and Leia Seydoux and Rebecca Ferguson. So this is about telling this backstory. You clearly don't care about these characters.
In your heads.
Just put your hand in the box, Jeff.
That was Dune, okay? No.
Put your hand in the box, Jeff. All right. Well, let's move on to this bigger story here. This is Kevin Spacey, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who might have forgotten about him, hey, there is some stuff going on. There are people who are, he just had a documentary. Well, not that he produced it, but there was a documentary about him and the accusations that have dogged him for the last few years that premiered in Britain. I think it's on ID here in the States, which I am definitely going to watch. Same company that had, or same studio that had the Quiet on Set. But a number of people have come out to defend him today. Recently, Liam Neeson, Sharon Stone, and Stephen Fry all came out to speak in defense of Kevin Spacey. Sharon Stone said, "I can't wait to see Kevin back at work. He is a genius. He is so elegant and fun, generous to a fault, and knows more about the craft. It's terrible that they're blaming him for not being able to come to terms with themselves, for using him and negotiating with themselves because they didn't get their secret agendas." What the hell is that all about? And then Liam Neeson said he was deeply saddened to learn of these accusations against Spacey. He said Kevin is a good man and a man of character. He's sensitive, articulate, non-judgmental with a prolific sense of humor. F. Murray Abraham said he vouched for him and unequivocally and called, I think he called the people who make these accusations vultures. I hope I'm quoting him correctly in saying that. And then even Stephen Fry, who is a gay man, said that Spacey, comparing Spacey with the likes of Harvey Weinstein to continue to harass and hound him, to devote a whole documentary to accusations that simply do not add up to crimes. How can that be considered proportionate and justified? So, whoo, Jeff, that's a lot of defense from some pretty old actors. But what's your thoughts overall when you hear this stuff about Spacey, who is 64 years old? Do you think this is paving the way for a comeback?
What kind Hollywood. What kind of a comeback?
Right, is Hollywood rallying around him, I guess is what I'm saying.
No, I don't think Hollywood is rallying around. I mean, what is Sharon Stone Hollywood?
Well, don't ask her. She might tell you yes.
And, Sharon Stone, God bless her, like, sure, she does think Kevin Spacey's a swell guy. I don't think Kevin Spacey was trying to do anything to Sharon Stone.
Right.
Unlike the rest of us men. I think it's tricky. I think because on one hand, I do put stock in the courts, right? I want to have faith in the court system, the judicial system. I mean, this was the UK though, right? Right. Yes. He's going on court next year in a civil trial stemming from the accusations, but he was found not guilty last year in the court case. And then the Anthony Rapp case, which he accused him of doing stuff when he was 14 years old, when Anthony was 14 years old, that got thrown out immediately. So far he hasn't been convicted. Prove.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's maybe why it's coming up short in court. Yeah. But again, there's been a pattern that has been alleged, and it's hard to ignore patterns. I think it's a lot easier when there's a one-off and it's a he said, she said, and
of course,
not to ignore or not believe, because obviously, that it happens in that case too. But when there's a pattern, it's tough. And this was something when I got to campus at NYU, it was something that everybody joked about. This was in 2002.
Joked about Spacey?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Like day one of freshman orientation, it was like, and by the way, if you see Kevin Spacey in Washington Square Park, steer clear.
Get out of here.
Oh, yeah. 100% across NYU when I was there. But like I said, he was acquitted. So it's like, are we just going to take the right to work away from these guys when they're actually challenging these accusations and winning in court? I don't expect Hollywood studios to work with him, but I think, he could end up being a part of like these can packages and like, this is going to be a big section of the show here, guys.
Right now,
a lot to say. So, like, this week we saw Fukunaga be part of a package that was at Cannes, 77 Blackout, with Mahershala Ali and Tom Hardy, and then we also saw James Franco. Right, announced for a movie, The Razor's Edge. Now, James Franco has been in a couple of things, the last few years. You just haven't really heard of him. Very small projects. But this one has Tommy Lee Jones. And Tommy Lee Jones isn't Glenn Powell, but Tommy Lee Jones is a member of the Hollywood community who's in good standing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it's like, so if he's going to go out there and say, you know what, I'm going to do a movie with James Franco, to me, that says something. I mean, Tommy Lee Jones is he's an Oscar winner who went to Yale.
Yeah, but Tommy Lee Jones is also in the back half of his career. I mean, could I show you the Paramount Plus movie he just did with Jenna Ortega? That's where he's at now. Straight to DVD, meet my quota. He doesn't have the status like he did before.
Of course not, but still, he again, it's not nobodies who are just like, I got to do something for my career. I'll work with James Franco. It's like Tommy Lee Jones doesn't really need this.
Like, it's not a Frank Stallone film, is what you're trying to say.
So to me, that signaled something. And then the Fukunaga of it all, again, no one's bought that package, as I reported last night. But when I asked around yesterday, it wasn't about the Fukunaga of it all. It wasn't that studios are like, I don't want to work with that guy. It was that this package is too expensive for like a gritty 70s crime movie, even with two big stars.
Okay.
Does that work theatrically anymore? It could on a streamer maybe, but probably not, in theaters. So, which is a crazy commentary on the marketplace. But to me, with Fukunaga and Franco, and I think there was someone, Emil Hirsch has been working pretty steadily anyways, but it signals that, is there a path back? And is it the indie film world? Right? It seems like that, like there is a path back, and that's what it is. And so, okay, here's where I'm going with all of this. Okay. So last week, I'm not going to name names yet, and it's something I'm still working on, but I actually want to get the audience's thoughts on this.
Okay.
Last week, I was contacted by someone who had been Me Too'd, I would say.
Okay. Wow.
In 2017-ish. I mean, basically when 2017, 2018, when Me Too sort of first happened. And not like a huge name. They contacted me with their wife and said, there are these accusations made against me by one person, and it's on one website. And, whenever even if I can get a meeting with producers to hire me, they Google me, and it's tough because that article pops up. And so I think that they want me to investigate and see if I would be willing to write about it. And I think that, it's not the sort of story that I normally do, but I looked into this person's eyes and like, I could see the pain, right? I mean, it's hard not to sympathize with someone in that moment, because I think that we're all better than our worst moments. And that's not to say that his accusations were false. And I think the first step for me is to try to get in touch with that woman. But I'm like, what do you guys think? Like, do you think that if accusations are made against someone, does that person have a right to defend themselves, essentially, and get their side of the story told? And does the journalist who offers a platform for that person to give their side of the story, do you feel like I would be giving a platform to an abuser or an alleged abuser or whatever? Or do you think I'm just being a journalist, a fair journalist who says, okay, this woman made these accusations that have never been responded to or whatever? Well, what do you think?
Are you asking me or asking the audience? You said the audience. Are you asking me?
I'm asking you and the audience.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's always a case by case basis. What is this person been accused of? How involved were the accusations? The severity of the accusations? And you also have to think of this way. You say you look into his eyes. He's an actor. That's his job, is to make you believe.
I'm not saying it's an actor, I'm not even identifying what. I'm
going to assume it's a creative person. It's their job to convince people to invest in them, whether they're an actor, producer, director, whatever, right? Executive, what have you. So, and again, I'm not saying the accusations are credible or not credible. It's a matter of you doing the research and, as you said, investigating, having the conversation with the accuser, seeing where they're at on it, and then you deliver an even-handed approach to this. If you want to be even-handed, I think that's the way to escape scrutiny. If you fall on one side or the other without a lot of
right, you can't have an agenda. You can't have an agenda going into it, and I'm
that's
very
what I
aware
would
of
say.
that.
I think it's a great thing for you to write, because I know you're a fucking great writer, and I know you try to be as fair as possible, even when we're battling. You try to be as fair as possible. So I'd be curious to read your take on this and your approach, because I know this is something that has bothered you for quite some time. This idea of like, how do people make it back? How can we always believe the accuser, but does this person have a right to defend themselves? And if they do, why are they iced out even when they try to defend themselves? And why are these companies scared about it? I sense, as you said from earlier, I sense from all these people slowly coming back that the tide is starting to change on this. And I sense that there's this feeling like, let's see how much farther out we can go. They're pushing the line further and further out. Oh, Gibson's back. Oh, let's Eastwood. He's fine. And let's Franco. Let's see how farther with Spacey. And then we'll see once Army Hammer is in a feature film, then the whole thing is fucking over and everybody is back. And so it seems to me that's what's starting to slowly happen with the movie going public. And it's a matter of where, I say it's a case-by-case basis. So it depends on what this person did. So
fair enough. And again, there's a lot of things that go into it. I think it's been tough for this person to have their story heard because they're not famous, right? There's still people who aren't famous who get Me Too'd, right? And people wonder what happened to the James Francos and the Kevin Spaceys of the world. But these other people, they're sort of just lost. And they can't get anybody to write about them or listen to their story. It's tricky, like I didn't get into this job for the money. I got into it maybe for the fame, but I also would like to think I got into it to help people. And I don't know, man.
Would you be doing this if the victim reached out to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think that it's tough for women to trust male reporters. I mean, Ronan Farrow obviously is managed it, but he also was a celebrity's son
and he's connected to Mia, who has been an ardent feminist.
Right, exactly. I think that's a different sort of case. Most of the names that you see on these stories are female. So yeah, I'm going to, I'm gonna continue to pursue it to like the best that I can, and maybe it's outside of my grasp as a journalist or whatever. But I feel like I owe it to the truth, because I think people listen. We all go on social media and we get upset, right? And we say things, and I wonder if 7 years later, do you still feel that way, or is it like, what, I was really upset that day. I mean, people change their minds and their feelings. So
let me ask you this about
keep you posted.
Let me connect it out to Louis C.K. You saw the stuff this week that all these comics want to bring him back. Bill Maher crying like a little baby again about bringing Louis C.K. back. Chris Rock has been ardent since the beginning about bringing Louis C.K. back. And all these people want to bring him back, yet none of them really speculate on what it would indicate to the women who made these accusations, women who were not able to find stand-up careers afterwards and have spoken about how they were essentially iced out or blackballed because they made these accusations against Louis C.K. Now, should Louis be able to come back? Because how did Louis atone other than do a special and have all his famous comedic friends defend him out in public? Has enough time passed? Would you be okay if Louis was to come back with like his show again or do another stand-up for HBO or something? Would this be an issue for you?
Not for me. I mean,
okay.
I'm a Louis C.K. fan. Like I get his emails and I buy his specials that he puts out on his website.
Okay.
I saw his movie. I Love You, Daddy, and no, that one was already made. But 4th of July. Sorry, 4th of July with Joe List. So yeah, like I think Louis has owned up to making people feel really uncomfortable and
the initial statement. Yes.
Making some mistakes, but it's just a different thing. Like I don't think he touched anybody. That doesn't mean what he did was right. But I mean, like he was penalized. I mean, he wasn't canceled, but there were consequences, I think.
Oh, he lost his show.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it wasn't like the show was canceled and then this stuff came out. He essentially lost his show. It wasn't,
and it's terrible if those women do feel like people weren't booking them because they came forward, right? That's horrible. Like we shouldn't be retaliating against people who come forward. I mean, Louis didn't even deny anything, right? Like these women were they were all telling. It's not a matter of do we believe them? Like they were telling the truth. So that's fucked up that their careers would be affected.
But that's standard for these, emotionally underdeveloped guys who are in charge of stand-up comedy. Like there's a lot of, you don't do it because you're in really good mental health and you've got a really sane head on your shoulders. Most of them are pretty fucked up in the head. So
funny wins, though. At the end of the day, funny should win.
Right. They should be allowed. Yeah, exactly.
You can't be funny without getting the stage time. You can't get the opportunity to make people laugh unless you get booked.
Well, that's the irony. They wanted to keep these women off the stage while stumping for Louis C.K. to come back because they felt he was unfairly being kept off the stage. So both of them are wrong. Like both those actions possibly are wrong in the approach. But I'm in this place. If there's a market for it, this is a free market system. This is the capitalist system. If there's a market for Louis C.K. to come back, then Louis C.K. should come back. If there's a market for Kevin Spacey to come back and people want to see him back, he has a right to create art. They have a right to cast him, but don't cry to me about the consequences. If nobody watches, nobody sees it, it doesn't make money, and you get a bunch of articles tearing you to pieces. This is the game. So yes, you have a right to ply your trade, but you don't have a right to control how the people react to how you do what you do when you ply your trade. So that's the way I look at it.
Audiences are, I mean, yes, Hollywood is going to decide whether to put Kevin Spacey and Franco and all these people.
Yeah.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, audiences.
Yes,
100%. And if audiences are comfortable seeing James Franco up there, then he'll be back. I mean, I think if Franco ever does make a real comeback, it'll have to be through the comedy stuff and like Rogan and Apatow lending him a hand and because I think that's how you do it is you make people laugh, you make people feel good.
Yeah,
you don't play some violent rapist murderer in some B crime movie because you can get it financed.
Jonathan Majors, that's not the route to go. I'm surprised Dave Franco hasn't brought his brother back in some role in his films. I've been a little surprised by that. Maybe he just felt it wasn't the right venue, and maybe James is like, I don't want to soil your film or stop your film from getting made. I appreciate it, blah blah blah. But you would imagine Dave might have considered him or talked to him about possibly playing something in his movies. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there we go. Anything more you want to say on that, Jeff? Anything else?
Yeah, we've spent enough time on me doing all these projects and stuff like that.
Well, let's finish this section of the show and we'll get into Streamlabs Superchats. Let me ask you about this. Agatha All Along. Finally, that's the name of the show that's coming here, starring Catherine Hahn, reprising a role as Agatha Harkness from Marvel. We had numerous different titles for the show, and then they finally told you that it was all just Agatha playing around, and this is really the name of the show. I thought this was lame as fuck. What did you think, man? Did you think this is really gonna get you excited for the show, man?
No, it was lame. Like, we don't need to make a fucking big reveal out of every little element. Just tell us the title. Exactly. I mean, especially when the last one was, it was like Agatha, the lying witch with great wardrobe.
Yeah.
Here, what's happening?
So ridiculous. All right. Anything else, brother? Shall we go to? Oh wait, was there anything else you sent along that you wanted to discuss? I think that's everything that we.
I mean, we got some release date news. How do you feel about Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. coming back for I Know You Did Last Summer, John?
I could give two shits. You want my honest opinion? Not a film that I give a shit about. So I don't care about them coming back to do it. Two older actors who haven't really booked much. They've been consistently on television or whatever, and Freddie had his podcast. But I mean, it's fine. Why not? But I mean, if Selena can come back with Wizards of Waverly Place spinoff, then certainly they can come back with I Know What You Did Last Summer. So go ahead. Yeah.
To me, it's just not like I think that they learned the wrong lessons from Scream. And like she's a horror icon. Sidney Prescott, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Julie James is not.
Yeah.
From what I know he did last summer. So I just don't. You should have just rebooted it. Like I don't know about the legacy sequel of it all. Yeah, there was a bunch of. I mean, Black Phone got pushed today, and Megan 2 took over its date, and Freddie, not Freddie, got fingered. Five Nights at Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's is coming out this December.
There's a sequel? Get out of here. Oh, wait, let me ask you this. What's your thoughts on Shogun getting a season 2 and 3 here? That's what the new reports are just a couple hours ago. Like, I'm excited because I love the first season of Shogun. Does this make sense to you? They're going, is this dangerous? They're going off the book now. There's no book anymore. They're going to use his historical stuff. Oof. Do you need to take that, brother?
No, it's literally my brother.
Oh, okay.
I think he's just calling with the kids.
He's like, "Are you watching the FIBA? Caitlin is killing it right now." Yeah. What do you think about this, man? Anything?
I mean, it was a huge hit for them. I never really understood why it was a limited series to begin with. Like, I understand like why a legal thriller, like the court case, that's going to be a limited series, or a crime thriller, because we can only try to chase who's the murderer for 6 or 8 episodes. But Shogun, seems like a very rich world and universe, like with plenty of stories. Why did this need to be a limited series? I think it's not even just about, it'd be great to bring the show back and it's hugely popular and all that. It's all about awards. Right. And I think it's going to be a smart move by FX, because the limited series thing was stacked this year.
Yeah.
And they're going to be competing against themselves with Fargo.
Right.
Fargo gets a little bit of breathing room, and this is going to move over to the drama competition where it's going to take on The Crown. And I think it's going to beat The Crown, because Emmys like new, fresh stuff that's good, as opposed to season 6 of The Crown. That's boring.
Yeah. I wouldn't disagree with you, because it was a good season, wasn't the strongest season. It'd be different if it was an epic season 6. Do you know what I'm saying? So, but this first season of Shogun was incredible. So I wouldn't be surprised if it overcame it.
I think it's going to win the best drama Emmy.
What about Happy Gilmore 2? What are we doing here, Jeff? Do we need a master's tour for Happy Gilmore 2? Is that what we're doing here? What is this all about, man?
That's right. Got all these upfront announcements. Love it. I mean, fucking brilliant play by Netflix. That movie is going to do gangbusters. And for the budget, dude, are you shitting me?
That's actually a really good point.
Dude, what? Yeah. That's a giant hit. I don't understand how the rights thing works, because I think it was Universal movie was the original. So like, but obviously Universal's not fucking making an Adam Sandler like a sequel. No. But on Netflix, that thing will crush, and it'll cost. It'll be a very good return on an investment. I
think you're 100% right in terms of that it'll crush on Netflix. Because, I mean, people don't have to go to the theater to see it. Boom. I'm going to watch it right now.
Everyone knows that movie. It's as simple as that. I mean, how often do they get to make sequels to well-known IP?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, for sure. What else? Anything else that's spinning off? Anything else that got moved? I mean, does the moving of Megan and Black Phone mean anything? Or is it just giving them more time? And because, I mean, Megan is like...
It doesn't mean anything, but like, okay, so Amazon did Spider-Man Noir. Yeah. They announced a Tomb Raider show. What is the deal with what's her name, Waller-Bridge there?
Phoebe Waller-Bridge, yeah, she wants to executive produce and do it.
She does Fleabag. I'm an amazing artist. I'm an amazing creator. Now I'm gonna go do Indiana Jones and Star Wars and Tomb Raider, and it's like,
bro,
what else you got,
bro?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, now you've taken paycheck.
Cash it in.
Can we get back to, I don't know, showing us what made you so special? Because all I see is a bunch of failed IP.
Yikes. Yeah, I'd be curious to see her point of view on the Tomb Raider show, because remember, one of the big things that sells Tomb Raider is her sexiness. And is Phoebe gonna play that up in her version of, or is this gonna be like a fully clothed and, sex tamped down type of person? I mean, Alicia Vikander is an attractive woman. You cast attractive women. So what's the approach that she's going to take? And is her approach going to be out of step with what people want to see from a Tomb Raider series? So I'm going to be real curious. Plus, as you said, she got a lot of shit from fans over the Indiana Jones thing, a lot of shit for it. So I wonder how that's going to affect. But Mr. and Mrs. Smith season 2 got greenlighted, Jeff. You must be happy about that.
I am, and I'm glad that they're not coming back. I thought it was spoiler alert. Like, You
the way it
guys have had
ended.
enough time. I thought it was a very clear-cut ending. I know that they tried to be like, oh, it's open-ended. They could come back. I'm glad that they're not coming back and they're going to do 2 new stars. And maybe it should be Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Okay, so she didn't get along with Donald Glover on season 1. Bring her into season 2.
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting idea. Why not? I like that.
I mean, Donald is still going to be an EP on that show, but
right.
I'm sure that they can work past that.
Make that cash. All right. Anything else before we hit a break?
One more thing. Roadhouse
sequel. That's right.
Roadhouse, baby. I love that they announced this without Doug Liman or Joel Silver mentioned. It's like, well, it's unclear if they'll be back. It's not that unclear. They will.
Doug is not coming back, man.
Yeah, I don't know with Joel and contracts and all that stuff. But I don't think there's any way Doug Liman is coming back. Maybe as an EP.
Yeah, no way he's coming back. But I'm excited about it. But I tweeted this out and I said they better fucking bring back Connor because he stole the goddamn movie and he walked out buck naked at the end of the damn movie with just a hospital gown on. So I want them working together against whoever they're going up against in the second movie because that would be awesome. That would be an epic twosome, Gyllenhaal and McGregor in that film.
I mean, listen, maybe Amazon puts the personal shit aside at the end of the day and is like, all right, Doug Liman, you made a movie that was like our biggest streaming movie. Okay, we'll bring you back. But we're going to be real fucking clear that it's fucking for streaming, so we don't have any miscommunication. I don't care if you make the Godfather of fucking Roadhouse going to Prime Video. Say it out loud with me right now. So maybe under those circumstances, they bring Doug Liman back. But I bet you they go get somebody else. And I'll tell you, the person to keep an eye on. And
okay,
he really does not. He has not harbored aspirations to direct. So I will say that there are plenty of actors that you hear, like a Matt Damon. Oh, he'd like to direct. Okay, Gyllenhaal really isn't one of those actors,
right?
But fucking Michael B. Jordan is out there directing Creed 3. Why couldn't Jake take a stab at Roadhouse 2?
Didn't he direct that? Well, maybe he didn't, I guess. No, but he was part of that series on Prime Video where he was the secret agent or whatever. So yeah, could be interesting to bring him back.
He produces a lot. Like 9 Stories is a fairly prolific production company. But 10 years ago, I think he was asked if he had aspirations to direct, and he said one day. It's 10 years later. Maybe now is the time. But again, I have not heard anything like that.
Well. Yeah. Well, who would be perfect for it, but probably won't do it, but should, considering some of the recent directorial efforts, is David Leitch. David Leitch would be perfect for something like this.
I mean, you're right. Especially because he's kind of like, I can't tell if he's rising or falling. Like, he was rising earlier this summer, right? And he was offered Jurassic, right?
Yeah.
But now I think after the Fall Guy opening, maybe he does have to go do
something. I mean, not just
Roadhouse too.
Roadhouse.
I mean, there's a lot of good people that they could get. They could try to make a play for the Extraction guy, or I'm high on Million Schuler. I really think Million Schuler is talented. So
that could be interesting. I like that idea.
There's a bunch.
I just want to see Greta Gerwig's Roadhouse. That's what I'd like to see. Greta Gerwig's Roadhouse. It could be an interesting one. All right. Is that it, brother man? Is that it? Can we go to break?
Go to break. Let's take some questions.
All right. Sounds good. We'll be right back, y'all, right after this. All right, before we jump into the questions, I want to remind you all to please subscribe to the channel down below and hit that bell button. You enjoy the Hot Mic coming to you every week. Please subscribe, hit that bell button, leave your comments if you're watching later. And thanks to everyone who's watching the replay. I know thousands of you watch after we go live, so we appreciate it madly. And Jeff, where can they subscribe to your newsletter and read all your big scoops and big stories, and possibly this story you're working on that you...
TheInsider.com, www.theinsider.com. If you guys can't quite afford an annual subscription, but that's what you want, let me know. Slide into the DMs with the password will be kangaroo.
Kangaroo.
Slide into the DMs with the word kangaroo, and I will get you the Insider discount special. All right.
I love it. Wes Anderson's Roadhouse. Yes, please. Give me Wes Anderson's Roadhouse. Oh my God. I would love to see that. All right, let's hit these Streamlabs super chats here. We got a bunch of them. Mitch Jensen says, these Megalopolis reviews are giving me Southland Tales vibes. Same-ish reactions, and that movie also bites off more than it can chew. I'm expecting it to be so awful that it's baffling. thoughts on the reviews. Well, Mitch, we kind of spoke about them, but Jeff, do you want more? Do you want to say more on these reviews overall?
Yes, no, I do want to bring up Jeff Wells because I started reading right at the top of the show. He said, well, he gave out a whole bunch of impressions. He said one journalist friend 5 minutes after Megalopolis ended said, "What the fuck was that?"
Yes, of course.
Yeah. His first impression that he wrote is Coppola has seemingly lost his mind.
Well, yeah.
It's not just an embarrassment and a calamity. I almost feel like weeping for the poor guy. It's a film that hasn't a prayer of attracting any average Joes or Janes whatsoever.
Yeah, no surprise. No surprise. He's done. I don't know what.
You gotta love him when you love him. You gotta love him.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was a nice time, but like everybody else, man, you know, you hit that wall and you can't do it anymore. Francisco Lopez says, "Hey, Roka and Snyder, I know you guys may know what got Beau DeMayo fired from X-Men 97 Marvel, but can he get hired by other studios, or will it take time for studios to hire him? I would love to see him working on a DC project. Also, who the hell is directing The Accountant 2?
Isn't it Gavin? Isn't Gavin?
I think Gavin is coming back to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good question on Beau DeMayo. That's all about Hollywood's Whisper Network. It's like,
because it wasn't just, from what I understand, I'm not gonna speculate irresponsibly, but from what I've heard from my industry contacts, is it wasn't just on the X-Men show. There was other stuff. So it's all in combination. That being said, it's a really difficult situation because he wrote one of the greatest seasons of animated television ever.
Right. And nothing's come out in the press, right? It's just, oh, well, he got fired and we don't really know why. So, like, his name hasn't been tainted as far as audiences go. It's just about whether executives talk amongst themselves and whether the stuff that John and I may have heard is enough to prevent him from getting hired, which it's all about, again, how sensitive some companies are. I understand why he had to go, but I also wonder if it's like, now that he knows what he can't get away with, if it's like, yeah, we can feel comfortable bringing him in, but he's on thin ice. And
he's starting to feel himself because he hosted a watch along of the finale at the Hive of Scum and Villainy, that cantina there in Hollywood, with one of the voiceover actresses, the one who plays Roberto's mom, from the show there with him. So clearly he isn't a guy who's in hiding about what happened. But this would be the time. If you're going to jump to go do something else, coming off the high of X-Men 97, I think a lot of studios would maybe look the other way if he promises to be on his best behavior. But I don't know.
I would say that with his continued presence on social media, what I understand, people are very like, that's an odd choice. I don't know if I'd be out there right now. Interesting. I don't think his reps are particularly happy about him.
I'm sure they're not happy about that.
But he may have felt like maybe he did nothing wrong.
But it's crazy enough to work. Do you know what I'm saying, Jeff? Because the fans of the show have loved that he's been chiming in and answering questions. And so it may be crazy enough to work. But,
Mark Marsh, he feels himself. Yeah, I think that's kind of that's kind of the gist of what we're hearing.
I'm not saying a word. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see. Goopy G says, just here to show love to give the guy who asks if you guys are going to get baked, eat burgers, and have a sleepover on a weekly basis. No, we don't live in the same city. It's hard.
I'm ready to have a pillow fight with John.
Put that on.
Yellow pillows.
Han wants to know, Anna Darmus has dropped off. Any casting news with Anna Darmus? Yeah, I'd heard some rumor that her and Syndey were possibly considering doing a movie together, but I haven't heard much from Anna since Ghosted. So what about you, Jeff? Have you heard anything?
Anna Darmus, Sydney Sweeney, Bound remake. No. I wish. Anna Darmus.
Who'd be Joey Pants? That's the big role. Who'd be Joey Pants in that role?
Anna Darmus, what? She has Ballerina coming up?
Yeah, that's it.
And that movie pretty much got reshot.
Yeah,
heavily by Chad.
And Ron Howard's Ian. She's Eden, possibly. She's in that. So with
Syndey
and Vanessa Kirby. Yeah. So Yeah, but it's not much. But I mean, you coming out of Blonde, which was, by the way, 2 years ago, you would have thought, that there was more coming for her. That Bond appearance was very well regarded. But
I
not much.
think she had to take a little break. I think she was in danger of getting a little overhyped and overexposed. I think she just got to wait for the right thing.
Yeah, makes sense. Francisco says, does TNT lose the NBA to NBC? I hope not. Yeah, there's rumors that, there's negotiations going on. We would lose TNT, the NBA with TNT, which would be like Chuck and Ernie and Kenny and Shaq and all them. But NBC, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know. I don't know what ultimately happens there and how expensive everything is if it's too rich for WB's blood, because obviously NBC has deeper pockets.
Yeah. And look, for those who don't remember, the NBA used to be on NBC for many years. Exactly. The John Tesh penned theme music there for the NBA on NBC. Luke Skywanker says, does Jeff know anything about Jim Jarmusch's new movie? Jeff, have you heard anything on Jim Jarmusch's new movie?
Father, mother, sister, brother. No, nothing outside of what I've read in the trades about it being a triptych that's set in different cities, somewhere in the Northeast, somewhere in Dublin, and then Paris.
Fucking
wrapped. It's done. So hopefully, maybe we'll even get it this year for awards consideration.
We got something. Oh, let me take this down. We got something. Let me hit a couple of these Streamlabs here. Joe says, just want to hear more about Jeff's thoughts on the Cross trailer, because I'm also a huge Alex Cross fan, and so am I. I read all of his initial first 10 books on Alex Cross. I didn't like the Morgan Freeman version. I didn't like the Tyler Perry version. But Jeff, here is Aldous Hodge. I watched this 90-second teaser trailer for this series. So what do you think about this, man? Does this work? Is this the right choice?
I mean, I saw that Morgan Kiss the Girls at 13 or something like that, and I love that movie. So okay. I definitely, Morgan Freeman is still my
Cross
kind of in my head, even though I wasn't a Along Came a Spider guy. Tyler Perry was not the right fit, but the whole approach was wrong. I mean, you can't, you just can't do, I understand what is appealing from a TV perspective about this show, but we're talking about one of the best-selling characters in books.
Yeah.
Do what the books do, and that means you have to have family time. You have to.
Yeah. That's important.
And I loved seeing that there was just a little bit of family stuff in this trailer, in this 90-second trailer. I get that murders and crimes and interrogations are going to sell it, but you just can't have Alex Cross without the family, because it's half the fucking books.
That's why I think a series is the way to go, man.
It is. I'm really excited for this. I like the Lincoln Rhyme series as well, even though nobody watched it. I mean, it aired on fucking Friday or Saturday nights on NBC.
Okay.
Lincoln Rhyme is the Bone Collector. Denzel's
I didn't watch that one. Okay.
Show Track Down the Bone Collector. That's a good one. Not the show so much, but anyways, the series, it fits right in with what they're doing with Jack Ryan and Reacher.
Yeah. And Criminal List and all these things they're doing on there. Yeah.
I think it's going to be good. I like it, and clearly they're confident in it because they renewed it early for season 2 before even giving season 1 a date.
Yeah.
And they're adding bigger names in season 2. I mean, a little bit bigger. Matthew Lillard, Wes Chatham.
Yeah. JC says, thoughts on the Megalopolis teaser? Well, I think we spoke about it already, JC. Haven't been this excited for a movie in a long, long time. I feel like we haven't seen a movie with this original of a vision with this budget in 20 plus years or more. What? You think you haven't seen a movie with this original vision with this budget in 20 plus years or more? Well, first of all, I don't know if that's true, man. I don't know if I would say that that's true, but okay.
What's I'm sure the Fountain's not $100 million movie, but
no.
Noah, kind of these big budget, this is a real artist vision more than just brainless IP.
Yeah.
It happens. They happen. Mr. McGee or whatever, ask your question, but pay. You got to pay $2 for it.
Got to pay the money, man. All right, let's keep going here with these. Philly says, Philly 19057 says, with the upcoming release of Deadpool 3 and reports of Disney Plus struggling to gain subscribers, is it time for Disney to switch it up and start making more R-rated and adult content? Well, that would all depend on how Deadpool 3 does, right, Jeff? I mean, if Deadpool 3 comes out and only makes $500 or $400 million, then you're not really motivated to make R-rated content. What do you think about this? Do you think Disney has to go R-rated in order to get people back in the fold?
I mean, Disney is Fox. I mean, this is still a Fox movie. It's Disney releasing it. It's a fucking Fox movie. I mean, no, I don't think Disney should change its brand values or strategy. Like, it releases R-rated movies that are produced under the Fox label.
Yeah. Ryan McNulty says, "Hey, John and Jeff, just curious if you all have thoughts on Viggo Mortensen."
I guess, I get what they're saying, but no, I don't think Marvel needs to do more R-rated stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Ryan McNulty says, "Hey, John and Jeff, just curious if you all have thoughts on Viggo Mortensen's The Dead Don't Hurt. Thanks." Have you seen this, Jeff? What's the smile on your face?
No, it was a friend. Have I seen The Dead Don't Hurt?
Yeah. Viggo Mortensen.
Viggo's movie. No, they sent me a link. It comes out at the end of the month, so I have another week or so to watch the link.
Okay.
I haven't, like, I asked for the link in the first place because I think that the trailer looked good, but I also haven't like devoted the time to it because I'm like, I'm like half and half on the fence there. So I really haven't heard that much about it. I do want to see it. I just don't know if I will have the time or make the time to see it.
Right on. Yeah, there's where is it? I got sent something. Oh yeah, I got something from Tom Chen. Their screenings coming up. Oh, shit, they already happened. Never mind. The last one was on the Soho House this past Monday. So interesting. Okay. All right. I guess I missed all my opportunities to see it, but I guess I'll get a link if I can. But it's a Western, so I'm curious to see what it is. Let's see. Orange Chicken says, "Hey, Jeff and John, are y'all going to find a dope movie or show to watch together, get baked and order some burgers or dank burritos?" There we go. Maybe sleep over as well. Well, someday, Orange will do it. I am Two Fly Cam says, "Hello, fellas. With Fall Guy and Challengers underwhelming at the box office, do you think this might be another rough summer for Hollywood besides a few hits? Love on the Sigourney Weavers. If true, hopefully Filoni can improve his writing skills for her. Ahsoka was rough." So Jeff, did Challengers underwhelmed? I guess it did. Were they expecting that movie to make $100 million? I don't know.
It's had some legs. I mean, it's hanging around. But what's weird, I think it's already going to be on VOD this weekend. So
yeah.
The box office is about to go off a cliff.
I like that movie, man. Oh, well.
I mean, I liked it. I thought it could have been great, and it fell short.
Okay. What about? So what he's saying? Do you agree with what he said here? That do you think it might be another rough summer for Hollywood besides a few of the hits? Do you think we're going to see some underperforming films predominantly throughout the summer here?
I think it's going to be yes, I do think that there will be some underperformers, but that's every summer, right? Every summer has underperformers and overperformers. I mean, there's going to be some surprises too. Like, no one at this point last year or whenever, 2 years ago, I forget what the fuck it was, no one's talking about Sound of Freedom.
True. Yeah.
So there are movies that come out of nowhere and capture our imagination. It's going to be a great summer for horror. I know that.
True.
I don't know if it's the kind of horror though that like lends itself to mass audiences. I don't think Long Legs or Maxine become The Conjuring and make $300 million worldwide, but that would be great if they did.
What'd you think of the Halle Berry trailer? Did you take a look at that one?
I saw that one at CinemaCon. It was
the trailer or the movie?
The trailer.
Okay.
I thought it was interesting. I like that director. I like Alexandra.
Yeah. Crawl was great.
It had like, a whole Quiet Place thing going for it. I mean, maybe a little bit of a rip off of that, but people like that high concept stuff and Flying Skate, right?
Right.
Yeah, they probably kept the cost down. Like Halle Berry gets, she's still a movie star, and I think it could do well at the end in late summer.
It could quietly be a damn good movie that makes a lot of money for compared to the budget, right? And so I think there's possibilities there. But I agree with you. It's got a lot of Quiet Place vibes to it. But they show certain things in the trailer that you're like, okay, so this might have there's more going on here than we think. All right, let's see what more we've got. Ronnie B. Good says, "Did you say Fantastic Four is set in London in the 1960s there, Jeff?" That's what Ronnie B. Good is asking.
Isn't that like what's out there, or is it just inspired by the London of the 60s?
I think it's just saying that it's set in the 1960s. They haven't specified a city yet. I think that's what Ronnie is.
I guess I don't know, but like, don't you
Okay.
think with Vanessa Kirby and Joseph Quinn, like that?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, making them British, that could be interesting. I hadn't thought about that. Okay, maybe. Let's see. Luke Skywalker, did we do this one over? Yes, we did. Samuel West. Anything at all on the Batman Part 2? Pre-production should start any month now. Yeah, Jeff, this is interesting because I saw people speculating on Twitter, as they tend to do on social media, that the moving up of the Supergirl movie, because they had a date for it now, it means that Batman 2 is not going to happen. They're starting to speculate that Batman 2 is not going to happen. Is there any world where Batman 2 does not happen? The Batman 2, rather. What is going on?
No, I don't think that there's a world where it doesn't happen.
Okay.
I've told you off screen.
Right? Oh, well. Okay. Maybe you did, but I forget. I get so much information in my brain, Jeff, and I'm old now, so I forget.
You
don't have to answer it. I don't want you to get you in trouble, so we can move past.
We just have to be patient. I just think we have to be patient.
All right, I'll say that. Luces Cámara Superacción says, what is a movie star? A butts and seats magnet? If so, only Cruise, The Rock, and Reynolds qualify. Maybe Keanu. A name and accolades don't matter anymore. Yeah, no. Keanu's not a movie star.
I don't think so. Yeah.
By that demographic or that qualification, Keanu's not really a movie star. John Wick sells itself.
Sandra Bullock's a movie star.
You could argue that. You can make that case.
Yeah, I mean there are movie stars,
right?
But yeah, like someone who doesn't really matter necessarily what the movie is, as long as it's not like some weird art house fucking thing. Like you're gonna turn up to see them,
right?
It doesn't have to be like IP. You'll go see them in an original movie.
Yeah. Joel Davis says, any scoops on the Ray film? Jeff, have you heard anything? Okay. Luke Skywalker says, what is Jeff's most anticipated movie of 2024? Has it already come out?
No, it's an easy one.
Go ahead.
The Crow.
There you go. The Crow.
It could be a horrific train wreck.
I think you're leading in the right direction there.
But I will say my number 2 movie got picked up today.
Which is?
And people interpret it as a bad sign. But I've heard good things about it. That's Justin Kurzel's movie, The Order.
Oh, yeah.
It got bought today by Vertical. So it'll get a little exclusive theatrical run. I get that Vertical isn't A24. But I'm looking forward to that movie. It's a crime movie about Jude Law. He's like an FBI agent in Idaho who starts to realize that a bunch of like violent bank robberies and armored car heists are the work of a domestic terror group, a group of white supremacists led by Nick Holt.
Wow. Led by Nicholas Holt? That is exciting. I like that idea. Luke Skywalker says, do you know anything about Borderlands? It looks fun. Have you heard anything, Jeff? I have not.
I know that Tim Miller basically came in and reshot the whole fucking thing, right? No, he didn't.
You said
the whole thing. It's like, wait, is that when I said that Chad Stahelski came in and did the ballerina stuff? I was like, am I thinking of Borderlands and Tim Miller? Maybe it was both of them. But either way, I think Borderlands is actually the kind of movie that's going to surprise. Like to us Twitter people, we may be like, oh, like that's going to be a huge piece of shit. Like that's going to bomb. But I think that the average American doesn't know about the behind the scenes or how long the delays have been, and they're just going to see fucking Jack Black and Kevin Hart and Jamie Lee Curtis. It's a good cast they put together. Yeah. It looks like a budget Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And people looking for that sort of group adventure, sci-fi adventure vibe.
Yeah,
I think we'll turn up for it. And again, this movie was made for a lot less than a typical like Marvel movie. So
it's true. All right, Lights, Camera, Super Action says screenwriters are cinema's unsung heroes. Sorkin and Tarantino are stars, but my favorite is Richard Matheson. What are your personal favorites in terms of writers, screenwriters? Yeah, Tarantino. Yeah, Sorkin. Definitely Sorkin. Yeah, Jeff.
I mean, I think if Andrew Kevin Walker is writing a screenplay, you have to pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm. Steven Zalian? Would you say Steven Zalian?
Yes. Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Scott Frank.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff. I like Scott Frank's work. You know what I was watching today? I was watching Seabiscuit. I think Gary Ross is an underappreciated writer.
Yeah.
He's a damn good screenwriter.
Absolutely. Yes. And Gary Ross was the guy who I thought that they had brought in on Borderlands.
Oh, wow.
To fix that. Again, Lionsgate, right? Hunger Games.
Right.
But Kenny Lonergan was always the guy at NYU or whatever. They're like, oh, Lonergan, he's a god. And Manchester is obviously one of the best movies.
Yeah. Agreed.
So yeah, that answers that question.
There we go. All right. When is Rebel Ridge coming? LOL. Thank you. Rebel Ridge. I don't know what that is. Jeff, what is Rebel Ridge?
Rebel Ridge. It's funny that you ask, Mr. G.
You got some.
I'm hearing good things about this movie.
Okay.
One source called it Black Reacher.
Ooh.
I like that. Black Reacher.
Again,
this is the movie that Boyega quit in the middle of.
Oh.
And they recast, I believe it's Aaron Pierre.
Yeah, Aaron Pierre with Don Johnson.
And it's from Jeremy Saulnier, who did Green Room and everything. So
nice.
I'm hearing good things about that movie, and I bet you see it sooner rather than later. I could see it happening. I could see it happening this summer. I could see it happening like late summer from Netflix.
Yeah.
Again, they have to you're gonna have to put some movies out in July and August. It can't just be. When does Beverly Hills Cop come out?
July 4th, right? I thought that was July 4th.
Yeah, I mean, maybe in the fall. I mean, maybe it's an awards thing. I'm not quite sure whether it's an awards kind of movie. Rebel Ridge. I think it's more of like a fun B movie programmer. But
I like this. I want to see it. I didn't know. I guess I'd forgotten about this movie because I like Saulnier. I actually liked Hold the Dark, even though a lot of people didn't seem to enjoy it. But I liked him in that. I like that what Jeffrey Wright did in that movie. I thought the movie had a nice mood to it.
So I bet it comes out this year. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay, cool.
That's a guess.
Okay. Ali Aloha, respect if you cannot reveal why. Can you reveal that you do agree that what Beau did was a fireable offense by Marvel? Apologies if already asked.
Yes, I agree with this.
I will stand behind my friend and just nod my head with his answer is what I'll say. Mr. Downtown says, have we surpassed streaming pinnacle? Have we surpassed streaming's pinnacle? It looks like the streamers are trying to reinvent cable. The Venue app with TNT, ESPN, and Fox, and Netflix Apple Peacock bundle with Comcast. Should we expect more? Yes. Jeff, your thoughts on this?
In terms of you think you've reached streaming's pinnacle? Or?
Yeah, that's what this Mr. Downtown is asking here. Have we reached the pinnacle of streaming? Is it over now? And that's why.
I think we're about to get streaming on steroids.
Oh, really?
I mean,
even with these Netflix combined.
With the addition of sports, once they add sports to Netflix and shit like that, that's when streaming will have peaked, I think.
Okay.
Well, I think that there's still offerings that they can do. Again, there's Netflix is not just a content delivery company. We lose track of the fact that Netflix is a tech company and they are constantly trying to innovate. For example, please don't make a thing of this, guys. This is so old. This is a 7 or 8 year old story. But I had heard once upon a time that Fincher was looking into doing Infinite Jests potentially.
Oh, okay.
On Netflix, but he really wanted to do it with footnotes. And they were looking into the technology to make a show with footnotes.
It's pop-up video and shit for a movie.
Right.
Interesting.
Oh
fuck, that could be real interesting.
I'm just saying that people bring those kinds of ideas to Netflix, and I think that you'll continue to see Netflix innovate with stuff like that. So maybe they, just like they did with Bandersnatch.
Yeah.
I think that you'll see them continue to innovate with that kind of stuff, including potentially footnotes. But that is not what David Fincher's working on these days. Relax.
Yeah, right. But what about these bundles? Because we just had that one last week that was announced here with Disney Plus, Hulu, and Max teaming up. So ESPN, Fox, and Warner Brothers were looking at one earlier this year that I think is going to debut in the fall. So What do these bundles indicate to you, Steve? Jeff, is that they're not making a lot of money, so they're coming together, even coming together with different studios to try to create a package. This is cable all over again, isn't it?
I mean, yes, we've circled back to cable, obviously, because nothing was broken, really, right? Like,
yeah.
That's a perfect business, and then they destroyed it, and now they have to try to rebuild it.
Yeah, very much.
But avoiding the churn, as Ronnie B. Good says.
All right, we have 4 more questions, so let me take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. And
real quick, did you see THR's list of Jimmy Kimmel's jokes from the upfront?
I read through some of them. The Kardashian joke was funny, and then I don't remember what the other joke that I thought was funny as well. What about you? Did you like them?
Yeah, no, I thought it was good. I just when Ronnie B. Good says avoiding churn, I thought of like we got more churn than Chernobyl up here. Anyways, yes, let's take a break. Johnny said it.
We'll be done in a few minutes after this break. Thank you guys for hanging out. 535 of you joining us. Thank you very much. We're back right after this. All right, let's do this thing, Jeff. Let's get into these last few questions and we'll get on out of here. Mr. Downtown says, great show, fellas. Last of Us, Fallout, and now Tomb Raider joins the video game TV realm. Thoughts on this new venture, and Amazon still working on a God of War series. Thanks for all you do. Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Downtown. And yeah, Jeff, your thoughts here. I mean, clearly there's a lot of, all of a sudden, video games is where people are turning to create these series and getting some positive results out of it. What are your thoughts here?
One of the X-Men guys who I wrote about last week, as far as the finalists for the X-Men job, he's working on the God of War show. I forget if it was Rafe or Michael. So again, what is the question? Forgive me. It's
the question is thoughts on this new venture, and Amazon still working on a God of War series. So just basically, what do you think about this trend? I guess is what it is.
Of video game shows? Or?
Yeah, video of these streaming channels, specifically Prime Video, using these video games as a basis for series. Do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's working, right? Amazon Fallout and HBO with The Last of Us.
Yep.
Gaming basically surpassed movies as like the big hobby in this country or whatever, and so it makes sense that TV would then try to appeal to the gamers.
Right.
Even more than the movie fans.
Right. Fair point. All right. Anthony V says, I'll watch Wicked, but I think it's going to be really hard to top Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth. And isn't the movie 14 years too late? The musical first came out back in 2003, but maybe it will have Wonka box office legs for the holidays. Yeah. I mean, because I think what they're banking on, Jeff, is families, right? In December, taking your young kids to go see it because it's a story connected to the Wizard of Oz. And maybe straight guys won't see it who are single or with girlfriends. Maybe they won't go, but straight dads who have families, maybe they're going to bring their families to go see it multiple times.
Yeah, but it's like, if you're going to spend that kind of money on a movie like that and make that kind of investment, it really has to be a 4-quadrant movie.
Mm-hmm. You're not wrong. And especially splitting it up into 2. I think I'd never understood that decision, with a musical, for God's sakes.
I mean, that's how they're milking this shit these days. But I agree that a 3-hour movie probably would have been better.
Yeah. Fredtastic says Roadhouse 2 was like one crazy summer reboot. Ooh, there's a reference. Maybe Roadhouse 3 will mimic Better Off Dead. Just saying, thanks, guys. Love the hot mic. Dude, you made one of the most obscure John Cusack movie references there with One Crazy Summer. I didn't catch that at all. Jeff, any chance you've seen One Crazy Summer and saw the comparison?
I confuse it with Better Off Dead, right?
Better Off Dead is the one. That's I fucking love that movie, man.
What has happened to Cusack, though? I do kind of miss our boy Johnny Cusack. He went off the deep end.
He's just very politically active, man, on Twitter. I follow him. He's got a lot to say about a lot of things.
Oh, John Cusack?
Oh, yeah, of course.
I love John. That's a commitment.
I love John Cusack. I will always. Look, he's got a lot of things to say. He's not always right, but I appreciate that he's passionate about it. Hot security guard said, "Hey guys, great news! I got a promotion at my job today. Hey,
congrats!
Congratulations, man.
I don't think I ever got a promotion at a job. I ever lasted long enough to get a promotion.
I think you've been I think you've had title changes. I was at Collider when you had title changes. So
Did I?
yeah, maybe they're not promotions in your mind, but you've got title changes.
I think I just got a different. That wasn't a. I just got a different job at Collider. They took away Collider News from me.
Like, we're not going to give you any more money, but you can take this title.
I got promoted from intern to production editor of Variety.
You were never a fucking intern. Give me a break.
I was an intern.
At Collider, I mean. Celebrating with you two tonight. Here's a little bit. Here's a little bit I can afford to send to you both. Thank you. Also, just saw earlier. It's sweet. Oh, just saw the movie If. It's out in theaters now. Earlier, it's sweet. Thanks for all the scoops and entertainment and everything you two do. Well, congratulations to you, Hoth, for getting the promotion. That's great. Jeff, are you going to see If? Is that something a straight guy is going to go see? You tell me.
No, that's a movie I would take my niece to see.
Sure,
if she wanted to see it. But yeah, Paramount really didn't screen it for a ton of critics, and the critics that screen it for hated it.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
It got very just panned across the board yesterday.
I was wondering why we didn't get it down here. That makes sense.
We're pretty brutal. They're just it's very maudlin. It's like mom's dead, dad's dying in the hospital. If so, a little too dark. Haunted Mansion had the same problem last summer. Haunted Mansion was so grim.
Yeah, it
was just okay. So it sounds like it was a good idea with poor execution.
Okay. Yeah, my girlfriend dies in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Now we got to follow my story.
There's another dead character in Haunted Mansion. There were two.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I forgot about that.
It was wild how dark that was.
Jeff, Factual Opinion says, thoughts on A24's Iraq war movie. I haven't heard about this. Jeff, did you hear about this? A24 doing an Iraq war movie?
I'm told it's A24's biggest movie ever. I'm told it's going to have a bigger budget than Civil War.
Really?
Again, I don't know what the budget is of Eddington, and Eddington probably doesn't have an insignificant budget because of the cast alone.
Yeah.
But as far as scope and scale, I do believe that Warfare will be the biggest that A24 has done so far.
Is it with Alex Garland as well?
Yeah, he's the co-director, and it's every young actor in Hollywood, and they all went to boot camp up outside of London for 2 or 3 weeks. So they're not sparing any expense for this. This wasn't a normal rehearsal thing.
Oh, yeah. Michael Gandolfini, Noah Centineo, Taylor John Smith, Aidan Bradley, Evan Holtzman, Enrique Zaga. Wow. It's an interesting cast. Good cast from this one.
Fero Unatai. He's playing the director of the film, Ray Mendoza.
Oh, so it's based on his experience? Is that what it is? Oh, okay. Military supervisor.
I assume he's the main character, but he also could be almost like the narrator of the movie, maybe, where he's a supporting character. But you're seeing it through his eyes, because it may be Charles Melton and Joseph Quinn.
Right, Joseph Quinn and Kit Connor, Cosmo Jarvis.
Is it Joseph Quinn? Is he the other one in it?
Yeah, Joseph Quinn, Kit Connor, Cosmo Jarvis, who was just in the first season of
every major young actor is in this.
Will Poulter.
It's an insane amount of young talent.
All right.
You really have to go back to other war movies like Black Hawk Down and shit like that.
Good comparison. That's great. This Michael Gandolfini guy might turn out to be a damn good actor, Jeff.
I like it.
It's very possible. All right, last few ones here. Aaliyah, did I already ask this one? Yes, we did. Mr. Downtown. All right, one last one. Keltrick Pickens says, Jeff, this morning horror fans were very happy online with the announcement of Jason Universe, a franchise expansion of Friday the 13th, new video games, merch, comic books, etc. Are we close to a new movie, do you think?
Gotta say, it doesn't feel like it. I wish I could say yes. That's just right. This Jason universe has everything but movies. The movie rights are separate, and I just haven't heard anything on that front. And if you are moving forward with a Friday the 13th series and all this stuff, it's does it make, do you want to make a movie then so that you can draft on the new popularity of the potential show and games and that stuff? Or is it they kind of stole our thunder and we have to now wait another 3 to 4 years after this Jason stuff runs its course?
Yeah.
Where we then get to do our Jason.
But I mean, Crystal Lake got pulled, right? So
it's pulled in the sense that they're going back to square one.
Right.
I mean, I think they're going to try to find like a new creative team and a new writer. So yeah, it's a ways away. You could maybe try to, if you had the movie rights, you'd maybe try to get something out quickly before that show. Then you could maybe do that, but I haven't heard anything to that effect.
Interesting. Okay, well, there we go. That's all the Streamlabs, and that's all the super chats. That's all our questions for today. So thank you all so much for the questions and for your thoughts and comments throughout the whole show. We appreciate it madly. Jeff, another fun show. Please let people know where they can find you and subscribe to your newsletter.
Find me at theinsnider.com, guys. A bit of a slow news day today, but I'm going to try to review some stuff for tonight. And then I also want to plug my appearance on our pal Matt No show, Settle the Score.
Nice. Were you on it again?
Playing Pap Johnson today. So check out that episode. It's a fun one.
Who'd you take on?
Pap Johnson.
I don't know who Pap Johnson is. Who's that?
The comedian. We play basketball together every weekend. Pap is about 6'7".
Jesus Christ. Okay.
He's a tough cover.
Yeah, I would imagine so. You on JTE's shoulders would still have trouble with a guy who's 6'7".
Yeah.
Shout out. Good to see that from Matt. Great to see that there. Settle the score. As for me, you can follow me at The Roca Says, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok there, and also the Twitch. The Roca Says on, is it the Outlaw Nation on Twitch there. But a number one thing is to subscribe to the channel down below and hit that bell button. And don't forget about the Cinephiles. We're dropping a new episode tomorrow, diving into Sexy Beast. Steve and I breaking that thing down over 2 parts. So much fun to revisit that classic British gangster film. One of my favorite films ever. We got Geek Buddies tomorrow, and we'll have Jedi Way later on this weekend for you all as well here on the Outlaw Nation. If you want to watch my reaction to the finale of X-Men 97, that's up on the channel as well. All right, take care of yourself, guys. Having a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here of The Hot Mic. Peace.
Bye.